Okay, and we are live. So, welcome back to the Passionate Pioneer podcast, series two, and we're on episode 27 already. And today, my guest is Camille Plews. Hi, Camille.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. It's so lovely. I've interviewed so many wonderful guests. Myself and Camille have known each other for definitely a few years. We've been following each other on social media. So it's really nice to pin her down and listen to her story. So you know me, I'm Beth. I'm also known as the Passionate Pioneer. My motto is Empowered Women, Empowered Lives. And this podcast is your doorway to passion, spirituality, and joyful living. So let me introduce Camille. Camille is a seasoned sales and marketing expert with over 22 years of experience. After a successful 15-year corporate career in sales and marketing across various service-based industries, she embarked on an entrepreneurial journey, scaling two businesses to impressive multi-six-figure success. Recognized for her exceptional sales acumen, Camille has won prestigious awards in both the travel and the corporate recruitment sectors. And now, here she is to tell her story. She dedicates her expertise to empowering online coaches just like you, guiding you to achieve massive global impact through effective lead generation and sales strategies. I love it. I love reading bios. I think it's really impressive when you hear your own story and you're like, oh yes,
Yeah. Oh,
it's true. It's true.
it's true. It's like when you put it in that nutshell like that, it's like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty good, yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Let me start off with the first question that I ask all my guests, and it's a bit of a tongue in cheek because it's what ignited your passion for this industry? Was it a lifelong dream or did it emerge through a journey of discovery?
Yeah, it just honestly, I didn't plan it. I just kind of fell into it. It just happened. Like when I first started out with my first online business, that was purely for the money. Like I was working in corporate. I didn't like leaving my little boy in daycare to go to my corporate job because I used to have to work between roughly 8:30 and 6 every day. And I used to have to leave him in daycare and he would cry and he'd want to come home and he'd be like, Mummy, don't leave me. And it was just awful. And then I just lost my passion for work and I thought, I just want to do something else. And at that time, I was selling random stuff on eBay, right? So I had these like random clothes that I thought, oh, well, I don't want them anymore, sell them on eBay. And then I started to buy things in, just like buying in random things like ex wholesale, that kind of thing. Started selling it on eBay and I was making like an extra like £200 to £300 a month, just random side hustle. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I could take that full time. Then when I calculated like how much my salary was after I'd taken off my car, my expenses, the daycare cost for nursery, like all of it, reduced it all. I thought, I only need about £1,000 a month to replace my salary. So I thought, right. And then I fell pregnant with my little girl. I thought, right, I'm doing that. There's no way I'm leaving two kids in daycare just for literally that grand a month. And it would even be more money to leave two kids in daycare. So I thought, right, I'm replacing that. And
Right.
that's what I did.
So, so take us back to the right. So you're in the corporate, you're in the corporate world. You know you can replace your money because it was a side hustle. So this is really good information because the ladies listening to this, they want that side hustle. They want to try and find obviously the joy, but it's got to pay you've got to pay the bills, haven't you?
Yeah,
Right?
that's it.
So you kind of did you transition out sort of slowly? You started it and
It happened. Well, I started to dabble. You know, like you dabble a bit, and I thought, oh, well, that's just some nice side hustle money. And I thought, if I put that money aside, then we can go on nice holidays and things. But then I was like, I started to really lose my passion in the corporate world, and I thought, I just don't want to do this. Like, I
as you
started to
do,
question myself.
as you
Like,
do.
yeah, well, you know what? I loved it before I had kids. This is the thing. Like, I was just doing it, like as you do. You're just like on that autopilot with your life, aren't you? And I was just doing it. And then I had Freddie, and because he was always ill as well, he was so ill. Like he had tonsillitis. It was every month. He had his tonsils out on his fourth birthday, bless him. And he had tonsillitis all the time, and all he wanted was me. Proper mummy's boy, wanted me, and he would always cry, and I'd like leave him at nursery again, and he was crying. And then I started to hate my corporate job. I was like, why have I had kids just to leave my kids at daycare? What is going on? And then I started to question everything. And I was like, I didn't just have a kid to leave him in daycare while I go to work, and then I literally pick him up and put him to bed. Like, I don't want that life.
Right.
And then I started to literally question the lot, and I thought, right, I started to just, yeah, like I sold these things just as a side hustle. I thought, right, if I take that side hustle more, and I just thought, if I could sell a bit more. And then I started to buy just some random wholesale stuff in. That's all it was, just like X, Next, X Marks and Spencer's. I just saw other people selling other stuff on eBay, and I thought, oh, I wonder. Random wholesalers, and like in the UK, just bought in a load of X Markses, X Next, and listed it, sold it. I thought, oh my gosh, that turned a really good profit. Let's do that again. And I did it again and again and again. And then before I knew it, like I was well up to, yeah, like well up to more than my salary. And I think that because when I went on early maternity leave with my little girl, and this was like when I decided, right, I'm going all in. When I fell pregnant with my little girl, I thought, I'm not doing this with 2 kids. So I fell pregnant with her, and I thought, right, I'm doing this. Within 8 weeks of maternity leave, I'd already replaced my income. I just was so determined. I was like, I'm doing it. And it wasn't even that much to replace when you think about it. Because after I'd taken off all of those expenses, I used to have to travel an hour to get to work. It was my car, it was the diesel, it was the childcare costs, it was all of it. Because we didn't get, I know there's that government thing now, or there is in the UK, where you get support. Like I think it's like 16 hours free childcare a week. That wasn't about when my kids were little. We didn't get that. You had to pay full for the childcare.
Yeah, correct.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a mom, but I do understand that when you work out all the money that it takes to do the childcare and to get to work, and this is why a lot of people choose to take the dole money. What is it?
Benefits.
The benefits. Because when you work out all the benefits you get, why would you? And then you weigh it against the cost of going to work, and then putting your kids in daycare and the commuting costs and all the rest of it.
All of it.
It doesn't make sense.
No,
There's something wrong with the system somewhere, isn't there, Camille?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I understand. I mean, now it's great. If you're having a baby now in the UK, yeah, you get your 16 hours free childcare. But you didn't when mine were little. It was like, it was only a few years ago, but they've only just brought that in. And it was tough. And I thought, right, if I'm paying for 2 kids, how much money is that going to leave me? And it was like, it wasn't much at all. I thought, I can easily replace that.
It's
It
expensive,
was like
isn't it?
It was $1,000.
It's crazy, right? And
I was
honestly,
like, when I calculated, so the 2 children's childcare, plus the car, plus the wear and tear, plus the diesel, and all of that, I was like, that leaves me with $1,000 a month. That's it. For working all those hours, for all of that hassle, for all of that everything, I thought, I can replace that. And I knew I could. And I thought, right, I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, it's very smart. And I know that childcare is very expensive. My niece has got 2 young ones, and she's putting herself through university at the moment. And, I understand that she's having to juggle, and it's expensive, childcare.
It is. It was like £50 a child a day. It's a lot of money.
So when the government give you 16 hours now, is that 16 hours per month?
It's a week.
A week.
16 hours a week you get for free, which is a massive help. So if you're like, I only worked 3 days a week. So when I had Freddie, I only went back part-time. So it's still only 3 days a week, but it's a lot of money still. And yeah, that 16 hours childcare, it would have gone a long way. But anyway, I'm glad because that pushed me to actually starting my own business.
Right. So what was it? So let's go into the corporate, because I've heard so many corporate stories, and I've got my own as well. So what was it that made you that, was apart from the money? Because there was obviously something else apart from the money. It was to do with your wanting to be at home, wanting to be with your kids. But what was the clinching factor that really pushed you out of it?
Yeah, it was just having to ask for holidays, getting permission, fighting in the office about holidays. Can I have this time off? No, you can't. They're off. Oh my gosh. I can't go on holiday then when the kids are off school. And then you get penalised from the school and you get your penalties. So we get charged. If ever we take the kids out of school to go on holiday, we get fined. And there was all of that to contend with. And it was just like, this is ridiculous. And yeah, like spending time with the kids. And as well, just, like when the kids finish, like at the time it was nursery, like when they were going to school nursery, I thought, well, when the kids finish school nursery, I want to spend time with them. I want to be able to take them to after school clubs. I want to do the things. Whereas if I was working till 6 at night, I couldn't do any of that.
Right. And it is really important, isn't it, to be with your kids when they're young. And I
Yeah,
think these days we're really forced into both parents work. You see, years ago,
yeah,
it was just one parent that worked, but we live in society now where you can't afford the one parent not to work.
yeah. That's it. That is
Something's
it.
something's gone very wrong somewhere, hasn't
It's
it?
crazy, isn't it? I think as well. I mean, a lot of it comes down to like materialistic things and all that. But then I'm not very materialistic. It's just the cost of food. Oh my gosh, the cost of food. Even in
Well,
Aldi, the cost of food is ridiculous.
I know, I've heard that. Now I live in Italy, so the cost of food went up by 20%, but even then, it's still a lot better than England. England is
Oh,
crazy, right?
it's insane.
Yeah.
Just over the last couple of years, it's like, wow. Food shopping, you can literally walk, and this is Aldi. This is like one of the cheaper supermarkets. You walk into Aldi, you come out with 2 bags of shopping, it's 100 quid. It's like, what, like, bleh? Seriously? What is going
What if I
on?
if I just bought shares in Aldi?
I'm just like, what, like before it was literally, it's doubled, probably more than doubled in price over the last 2 years. It's insane.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Plus then the bills because
And
everybody's
the bills, the
electricity and
heating, the
gas went
electric.
up. Yeah,
Mind you, we've got a log burner. We've got a log burner installed. And oh, what a godsend that's been. It's
oh
amazing. I
yeah,
mean, I love the log burner anyway, because I love putting the fire on and stuff. But it
yeah,
just means like not having to pay for all of the heating. The heating costs are ridiculous.
yeah, yeah. We've got wood here. I
Yeah.
mean, I put in a gas boiler, so mine runs on GPL, but I also have a gas electric a log fire as well. That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to say. I mean, it's a lot cheaper, isn't it? And then that can
Yeah.
heat that can heat the whole house. My sister has the same thing where she has a big log burner, and then that
Yeah.
heats all of
It's the
the
whole house.
radiators. Yeah, heats the whole house.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
literally just
yeah,
leave that door open and the heat travels upstairs, open all the doors upstairs. And yeah, the heat just travels. It gives my husband something to do as well. He loves tinkering about with that log burner.
keeps him busy, keeps him out of
With his
mischief,
axe
right?
chopping up wood in the back garden. He loves it. Give him a
So
job.
so always give them something to do, right? I mean,
That's it.
Yeah, it's the same here. They come and they'll chop the wood for you. It's always the men because you don't think I'm going out there to chop the wood. You can think
Well,
again.
yeah. He likes it though. He's out there. He's just like, yeah, just in the garden, chopping wood.
So let's go back to the okay. So you left the corporate world and then you started this business of selling clothes and or selling things on eBay, other products.
Yeah.
Did you have anybody that you were sort of following? Did you see somebody else doing it and that were your, or did
No, I
no?
literally fell into it. This was the thing because oh my gosh, when I started selling on eBay, it was just my second-hand stuff, like stuff that you barely worn. And you were like, oh, I'll just sell that on eBay. Obviously, I know Vinted's now the thing, isn't it? People are selling on Vinted, but
Yeah.
back then it was just eBay. There was no Vinted. So I would like, oh, I've barely worn that, but you know what? I'm just going to sell it because I know that I want the money. I want the money for holidays. I was on a big clear out. I thought instead of just like sending like absolutely everything to charity, the stuff that I know that's worth something, like I had an All Saints dress. I think that's where it started. An All Saints dress. I thought, I'll sell that because I know it's worth a few quid. And then I sold something else and something else and something else. And then it just became like a habit to sell stuff that was like a label. And then I saw like just by doing that, I saw other people selling like X Next. How have they got hold of them? I just like Googled it, like X Next
Right.
Wholesalers UK and then X Next Marks and Spencers UK. And then I just Googled stuff and found wholesalers, found things and just bought things in bulk and started listing it and started selling it. And that's where it went.
Did you have to get a license or anything to do that, to buy things wholesale? No, they'll sell to anybody wholesale, right?
Yeah, so it was
That's
just the
crazy.
wholesalers. So yeah, there's lots of them listed online on Google or anywhere. So literally, Google's your best friend.
Oh, yeah.
Googling it, right?
Oh,
Wholesalers, and then you'd be like, okay, I see where they've got those shoes from, and then you can look on eBay and you think, oh, they're selling them for that. They're making that profit. That's how much the Royal Mail is. And I had a Royal Mail business account as well, so it reduced the costs of Royal Mail. So what I'd do is print off all the labels at home. I mean, gosh, the amount of printer ink I went through. And I had the proper stickers so that I didn't have to like use my sellotape. So I had like the sticky labels that I just put through the printer that I just peel and put on all the bags. Because sometimes I'd have like 100 or 200 orders to send out after a weekend.
yeah, yeah.
So it was like easy. I'd like fill all my Royal Mail bags and just take the big sacks to the main Royal Mail centre. So I got like
Right.
a big discount on the Royal Mail bags and then just, yeah. So calculated it all and thought, that's how much profit I'll make. Got all the spreadsheets, I had it all set up. I was like, right, profit on that, profit on that. And yeah, it was brilliant.
But then something changed because you don't do that anymore. So let's talk about that, the next transition.
So it grew rapidly. So my husband converted our garage into like a little stock room. So he's like, I'll convert that into a stock room as soon as all you're right, all in now on this business. And I was ordering loads. The amount of boxes that we'd have in the hallway, people tripping up on the way in. And then like my mum would be down. She's like, oh, these Max's dresses, oh, these Max's jumpers, like wholesale price. Go on then. I'm like, all right then. And then I'd have like friends round. They're like, let's have a look at what you've got. Or what have you got from next there? Let's have a look at those shoes. And then everybody's like buying stuff. And then anyway, so we had like loads of pigeonholes in what was the garage, which is now like the playroom gym. But it was just all pigeonholes. I just grew out of that like so quickly. And I just boxes piled everywhere. So then I rented this 1,000 square foot warehouse. It was about a 10-minute drive from here. And this huge warehouse, I got these big railings in, and it just grew and grew and grew and rapidly grew to multi-six figures, like really quickly within the space of about 6 to 8 months. It was insane. And yeah, it was just this huge warehouse. But then I was just there all the time. Packing up orders in this warehouse. And I was like, Mom, can you have the kids? And I thought, hang on a minute, I've literally just fallen from what I was in my corporate job into this business,
Right.
taking all of my time. And I'm in this freezing cold warehouse. It was so cold in there. And the amount of the massive spiders. Oh my, oh, you've never seen anything like it.
Oh, I have. I live on a mountain, remember? I've seen the size of the spider.
These spiders, I go to open a box, and there's a massive great spider there just looking at me. I'm like, oh, somebody come and help me. And checking orders. And of course, the more and more that you order, the more faults you have with products. I'm sending loads of stuff back and getting more and then checking everything. And it just became this massive monster of a job. And then like hiring help as well. And it's like, oh, the help hasn't showed up today, or oh, it's too cold, I'm not coming out. And where the warehouse was, it was like when it snowed, it snowed. So just where we live, if I like drive 10 minutes that way, it's like I'm right up in the northeast of England, and we get snow, and it's like the icy roads and everything, and it's trying to get through there. Like, oh my gosh, these orders aren't going to get out today. Can't get to the warehouse. Like, oh, and it just got to a point where I just started to lose the passion for it, because I was in there all the time. I was always packing orders. There was like faults and things to deal with. Right. I just became just this monster that I grew, that I was like, I don't like this anymore.
And then when I went away, out of the frying pan into the fan, right? Into the fan, right?
And then when I went away, I remember going away. We went to Disney World, because this was one of the things. I was like, right, this business is funding us going to Disney World as well. So that's what it did. Went to Disney World, and I had to obviously switch it all off for the 3 weeks that we were away. Put like a delay on it. Oh, the amount of complaints, the amount of everything. Even though I had it on my Etsy shop, my Spotify, like everywhere. Like, this will be a delay in your order. Like, I'm aware, basically. Like, people were still ordering, and all the complaints, everything, the massive mountain of stuff I had to deal with when I got back. It was just horrendous. Right. And I was just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And I dreaded going into that warehouse. I'd be like, oh, I've got 200 orders to pack up. I'm going to be there all day. What a nightmare. And it's freezing. And it's like, oh, spiders. And it's like, oh.
That's it. Well, but I'm sure you learned a lot of lessons, right?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
So then how did you do that? Then how did you, there must have been a pivotal point then, when you just said, that's enough.
Yeah, you know what it was? I can actually pinpoint when it was. It was in the winter, of course. It was freezing. I was in that warehouse, and I started like listening to loads of like business podcasts and entrepreneurial podcasts at that time. In the warehouse, podcast turned up loud, and it was Mel Robbins. And she said it was something on the lines of, I can't remember the exact word, but it's something like, if you don't love what you're doing now, if you can't imagine yourself doing it in 5 years from now, change it now. Don't delay, do it now. And I was like, like, it just like hit me. I was like, why am I prolonging this business? I know it's bringing the money in. I hate it. Like, I probably hated that more than I did my corporate job in the end, because I was just like, oh, in this warehouse by myself with the spiders. Well, I wasn't by myself. I was with the spiders. But it was
morning.
Yeah, hi spiders. And I was like having to wait until like sometimes like 7, 8 o'clock at night in that warehouse, waiting for deliveries. So it wasn't just that I could like pack up and leave. It's like, oh, I'm waiting for deliveries. Delivery's late. Oh, it's snowing. Oh, the van can't get there. It's going to be later. It's like, oh my gosh. And I'm just waiting. I'm like, oh, like, and my mom's like, are you picking the kids up? I'm like, yeah, I'm just waiting for the delivery. And it was just, it just Yeah.
So that was the moment. That was
I
the
don't
moment.
miss it. Let's say I don't miss it.
No, it sounds, I'm stressed just listening to the story, to be honest. So then,
It was okay when the deliveries were coming to the house, when I didn't have a massive
right,
warehouse, even when it was
right,
small business, when it was
right,
small and I had my little pigeonholes in the garage and the deliveries would come to the house. Didn't matter if the deliveries came at 8 o'clock at night because I was here, so it was fine. But when I
right.
had the big warehouse, when I was growing and expanding, when I got to the multi six figures and I had to, grow and expand, that's when it just became a nightmare.
So how did you do that then? So how did you change then to the online world and helping other coaches?
So
Where
how
did
I
that come
transitioned
to
that.
play? How
So
did it
yeah,
come to play?
heard Mel Robbins say that. And I thought, right, what else can I do then? So I started looking at other things. I actually fell into affiliate marketing first. So I joined a program. It was like something like $4,000. Thought I'm joining this program, these two affiliate guys in the US, and they were teaching how to do affiliate marketing through ClickBank, like online on ClickBank. And it's like
Right,
lots of low ticket offers, and you sell other people's low ticket offers.
right,
And basically, the way that was you set up your own Facebook business pages for all these different niches. And it was like high ad spend on all of them. So it was like, right, running ads to this offer, this offer, this offer, this offer, all sorts of things like solar panels in the garden and all sorts. Anyway, so there's all of these offers for all of these different niches and all of these business pages that I was like, I actually really like this. And I could see how the remote living could be. And I was like, and it was like my first like real big thing into like funnels and ads. Like it was my first thing knowing how to do that.
right.
And I was like, I really like this. I love the remoteness of it, of like, doesn't matter where you are, you just need your phone, your Wi-Fi signal, and that's it. So I was like, right, I'm sold. So I decided, right, I'm going to sell everything off really cheap in a sale. I lost quite a lot of money because even though my initial contract in the warehouse, I mean, it was my own stupid fault. I should have really read the fine print of the
Right,
terms and conditions of the warehouse.
right.
I was like, I give my landlord a month's notice. They're like, it's 6 months notice. I was like, no, I've done my initial 6 months. Like, I've done this, I've done that. I was in there for another year, whatever. Like, no, but it rolls on. You don't just give us a month's notice. It's in the fine print. I'm like, oh no. So I was already selling everything off really cheap to get out of there really quick. Handed in my month's notice, which had to be 6. I just came out in like over 40K debt. It was a lot, but
Wow.
I'm glad I've done it. I mean, at the time it was awful because I was like, oh. So I went from bringing in all this money, selling everything off cheap, taking fast, messy action, which is what I always say to
Right.
do.
You talk about that, don't you? We'll talk about that in a minute, the fast, messy action.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. But the
But
fast, messy action cost you a lot of money, right?
it
At the
cost a
time.
lot of money because I owed all of this rent that I didn't think that I would have owed. And it was like obviously thousands every month on the rent for the warehouse. And I just ended up in a bit of a pickle, shall we say? And then obviously I'd invested this money into this program, invested more money into other coaches as well, because like I needed other coaching. It wasn't just enough to be in that program. There was other bits and pieces like that only lasted like 3 months. I wanted to know more about ads and like all sorts of things. So
Right.
there was more investments to do. And yeah, I had over 40K on credit cards and it was a bit scary
Yeah. Was this before COVID?
before COVID. Yeah, it was
Before COVID.
2019.
So, so,
2019.
so you see, but it does happen. Everything happens for a reason, right? Because you wouldn't have been able to do anything with the warehouse. You wouldn't have been able to sell anything. That wouldn't have been able to get to the post office.
Yeah.
It all would have fallen anyway in
This
2020.
is it. And this was like, so it was the winter of 2019 that I'd listened to Mel Robbins. Sorry, it was the winter, like, between 2018 and 2019. I think it was like the
Right,
January-ish of 2019, the very start of 2019.
right, right.
And obviously, like, lockdown happened just over a year later. But I just decided then that I was doing that. And then by the kind of April-ish time, I was like, right, everything's going. I don't care if I make a loss. I'll just get rid of everything because I want out. I want out of this. And then there was the warehouse fees and everything that just mounted up on top that I hadn't planned for that made me in such debt. And then I was so naive though in thinking, right, I'll just transition from my product-based business. And yes, I've sold quite a few like tiny courses and stuff online. I'll just transition into teaching other people. Because somebody said to me, you know what, you're so great at Instagram. You've sold so many of your products on Instagram. Why don't you just teach that? I was like, yeah, why don't I teach that? So I thought, you know what, I'll just do that. And then I transitioned or tried to transition between selling services online and helping people to sell services. But it was so different to selling products and me trying to sell a service online at first. It was like, This is different because there's obviously your branding, you have to show up as you. Selling a product, it can just be like, here's the product, here's how it works. There it is. Do you want it? That's the
Right.
price.
Right.
Service is so different.
Yeah.
I was a bit naive in thinking it would be the same, but yeah, learned that one the hard way. So it took a little bit longer than I initially anticipated to get my first client through the door and all of that. But yeah, wow, yeah, that was 2019.
So there was a lot of obstacles to overcome there, wasn't there? You
Yeah.
know, going from, the warehouse, then is blah, 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 40K in debt. Then you got to change. Then you went into affiliate marketing. Then you decided, I kind of like this. Then you invested in coaches. This is what people don't realize as entrepreneurs. We go into this. You have to go on a self-improvement plan, self-improvement path because you've no idea. When you're working for somebody else, you just have to do like one job. Even though how
Yeah.
difficult it is, you do one job. And if there's other things that need doing, you put it off, you put it to, you give it to delegate to other people, you can give it to other departments to help you, like the technician department, the HR department, the marketing
Pass
department.
it off.
It does, everybody does, you all work together in these, these different facets of the business. When you're an entrepreneur, what you don't realize is that that's you. You are everything. You are all of those, and you've got to
Yeah.
learn all of them. And it's very nerve-wracking. Your nervous system can be shot to hell
Yeah.
because you're
Because it's all
constantly in
on you.
overdrive because it's all new. And you're like,
All on
oh God,
you.
yeah, what about the marketing? Oh yeah, that's me as well. And I do sell what about my website? Oh yeah, that's me as well. I've got to, and it's a lot, isn't it? And this is why, people think that, success is overnight, and it doesn't. It's this action step, action step, action step, the next step, the next step, and you just keep following, and you've got to hold your nerve. There are
Yeah.
days when you do crack, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you've got to
Yeah.
hold your nerve, right, Camille? You've
Yeah.
got to get that support. So you had all of these coaches
Yeah.
to help you, right?
Yeah, absolutely, with the steps, because it's not even just the steps. It's not even just about knowing what to do. It's having somebody to talk to when you're going through something that's rubbish. Like I've been through so many things on my business growth journey, like so many obstacles, and
Mhm.
things come up all the time. And this is why I'm in mentorship and this is why I'm in masterminds, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this happened, help. And it's like, don't worry, that's happened to me before. This is what you do, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, cool. And it's just having that support network as well of other people, because like whatever you're getting to, it's like new level, new devil. Like the first thing that you'll encounter is like,
Yeah.
oh, how do I build a sales page? And then when you've done that, it's like, oh, how do I scale with that? Oh, how do I deal with this problem with staffing? Or how do I deal with this customer complaint? Or how do I deal with these chargebacks? Or how do I deal with blah? And
Yeah.
it gets more and more and more new level, new devil all the time. There's always going to be a
Really,
new thing.
really does, right?
And yeah,
It really,
just
really
plugging in
does.
for support. It's like you need it.
Yes, it is. That's amazing. And and I didn't realize when I first started the journey, and I got myself a coach, and she was a positive psychology and business coach. So, and I was just like, there were times when I just had a complete meltdown because I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what am I doing? What? And
Yeah.
she's like, okay, just breathe and let's go through it, right? Just breathe.
That's what you need to do most of the
Start
time. It's
by
just like
breathing, just
breathe
breathe.
and have
Like I was like this,
perspective.
I was hyperventilating, going, nothing's working. I can't find my audience. I don't know what's going on. Right. And she's just like, breathe, just breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still friends to this day, and I still, I'm going to have her on the podcast one day. Uh, Probably this year at some point on one of my podcasts. I'm going to interview her because she's incredible. But yes, you do need those guiding lights, don't you, on your journey?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My business wouldn't be where it's at now if I hadn't have plugged into other mentorship. This is the thing. And
Right.
it's staying plugged in as well. Like some people will be like, I'll just come and learn and then I'll unplug. But then the learning's always happening. That's the thing. Like I'll always stay
Yes.
plugged in. Like right now, I'm a part of like mentorship. I'm a part of like two masterminds. And it's like slightly different angles, but it's still the same sort of thing. Like I've still got like my North Star that I'm aiming for, and both of them are like kind of gearing me into that way. But it's like I know that I can plug in and get the help, the support, the advice, everything that I need from other peers in there and mentors. It's invaluable just to have that. It's like an insurance policy, isn't it? When you're like, oh, I might not plug in all the time, but like I
Well,
need it
you
now.
do. I mean, you're asking people to come to you for support. So you
Yeah.
need to have somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, there's always coaches need coaches.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
I'm on a different trajectory at the moment. It's the same. It's spirituality. It's going, but it's just going a bit further down the rabbit hole, and I'm just like right down the rabbit hole. But
Yeah.
but I need somebody that's been there and done it before
Yeah.
that can show me the steps. Okay, how do you? I love what you're doing. Show me.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, because
okay,
it gives you a
I might
shortcut
have
as
my
well.
own way, and you find your own way, don't you?
You
But
do
the
find your own way. And I think it's that balance between doing it in a
yeah,
way that's right for you and your life
yeah,
and the way that you want it to be. But also, it's also like tuning into other people's shortcuts. If you can find somebody who's done something in the way that you want to do it, get the shortcut. They've already done it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So you're talking about the self-doubt, the overwork, the burnout, shall we say, and all of the things that come up on this journey. So how did you really overcome these challenges? Was it through these challenges? Was it through the mentorship programs? Did you have other support?
So, yeah, it was mostly through mentorship. Like nobody else in my family has got their own business.
Right.
Nobody. None of my friends. I mean, I've got one friend who she's grown random like local businesses, but nobody has got an online business. Nobody that I know, like family, friends, anyone, nobody has it. So it was just me. So I had to plug into these things because I knew that I wasn't getting support from anywhere else. There's nobody else to support me. And in fact, it's probably worse having family that have always worked in corporate and whatever, because it's like, oh, you're working again, or like especially in the beginning phases of your business where you have to put in the hours, you have to put in the work, you have to build the thing. How
Yeah.
many clients have you got now? Oh, you've only got two. Oh, what a shame. It's like, are you trying to keep your mindset in check? And you're like, I'm doing so well. I've got two clients. I've done this. I've done that. And
Yeah.
then like your mum comes around and says, is it really worth it? Do you not want to go get your corporate job back? No. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. So
Yeah, it's like,
hard when you've got,
have you got a job? Have you got a job? No, this is my job. I'm
yeah.
the
Oh,
CEO of my own company. That
yeah. One of my friends were like, are you going to go get a proper job? Or are you just going to do that now? Yeah.
I'm just lost for words when I,
Yeah.
go and get a proper job. I'm like, no, I walked away from a proper job because that's
Yeah.
called
It's like, this is a
slavery.
proper job. What
That's
do
a
you mean?
slavery system, right?
So funny when people say that, isn't it? It's like, you're going to get a proper job. Okay. Yeah. They
It is
just don't
crazy.
understand. And I think this is the hardest thing when, like, I don't talk about my business that much at all. Whenever we go out or anything, like people will say, oh, how is the online thing going? I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, great. But I don't get into it because nobody really understands. Even my husband doesn't really understand what I do.
Right,
Like he's very like he's hands-on. He's an electrical inspector. Like he's always worked in industry. He works in these like huge warehouses and stuff, like inspecting cables and whatever. Like he's very like hands-on with his work. He has no
right,
idea. He
right.
thinks a funnel is what you find in the kitchen. Like he has no idea what I do. And so me trying to talk to him about what I do, it just goes over his head. So I just think, right, and this is another reason why I plug into mentorship because like I can have conversations with people who know what I'm on about.
Like minds, you've got to find your tribe,
Yes.
right?
You do,
Very
exactly.
important, very important. Yeah. Anybody that's listening right to this, you've got to find your tribe. It's the most important thing because you will have people around you that don't understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you know what? If they don't understand, they don't know, you don't want to talk about it with them, find your tribe because it's really important to have those like-minded tribe around you so
Yeah.
that you can talk about, how you're feeling and the next level, next devil, all of the things that you encounter if you want to become an entrepreneur or you're doing your own thing. And I've got to say, it really is your unique journey. It doesn't belong to anybody else. They're not meant to understand,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? They're not meant to
That's it.
understand. Everybody has their own journey. I always say, just look at your fingerprints. Unique.
Yeah.
No one has a fingerprint like you, right? No one has goals that like you. No one has dreams like you. No one, your path is unique. And so it's really important to find people that are like-minded, not the same, because you'll never find anybody the same. But if you want to go into selling clothes, find somebody that's in sales. If you, And very, if you want to really go one step ahead, find somebody that's one step ahead of you. I don't know why we're so afraid of that.
Yeah.
We want to find
Yeah.
somebody that's kind of, on our level. I'm always looking at the people that are further
Next
ahead than
level.
me.
Oh, I am.
And
Because
that's
it
what I want.
stretches you. Stretches you. Like right now, I'm working with multimillionaire mentors to stretch me to
Right.
that next level. Because otherwise, you're always going to be like, if you're the big fish in the little pond, you're always going to be a big fish in a little pond. So jump into the
Right.
next pond and be the little fish in the big pond, and then you're going to grow to that size.
And it's
So
scary, isn't it? Because once you
scary,
start to
but it
get
has to be done.
comfortable, that's the danger zone, right? And it's all,
Yeah.
this is why most people will stay where they are in the familiar, even if they don't like it, and even if
Yeah.
they're miserable, they'll stay there because it's comfortable. But comfort is like death for personal growth because there's zero personal growth in comfort. You
Oh,
have to get
yeah.
uncomfortable, right? Very uncomfortable.
You reminded me actually, a guy I used to work with in a bank. I used to work in a bank. It was the worst job I ever had in my life. And I was on, it was just so clicky. So I used to work as a cashier at a British bank. And anyway, this guy who sat next to me, this older guy called John, I was only in my 20s at the time. He was in his 50s. He's like, oh, I've only got 10 more years left here. 10 more years and I'll be retired. I'm like, you've got 10 years. He's like, oh, I'm counting down the time. I'm like, really? That's like wishing your life away. How many people are doing that? Live
Exactly.
your life. Do something you want to do. He's like, I hate it here. I've only got 10 years left. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was there 6 months and I
Imagine.
was out of there. I left without a job. The boss wouldn't give me time off to go to Disney. This was like when I was in my 20s. To go to Disney with my family. This was before I had kids or anything. And yeah, the boss wouldn't give me time off. So I was like, I'm leaving then. I hate this job anyway. So I left.
But you can do that, can't you, when you're young? And this is why I
Yeah.
always encourage young people. They're like, oh, I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure which direction. I just say, just do something.
Go
Do
try things and
something,
easily get a
try
job.
something. And
Yeah.
and then the next thing when you're doing something, you'll get inspired because the
Yeah.
universe loves action, right, Camille? They love you
Oh,
when
absolutely.
energy is moving. If you're stuck
Yeah.
in one place, you're just stuck.
You're
You've
not going to
got
get
to
ideas. You've got to take
no,
that next step, and then another step will appear, another step will appear. I remember after that trip at Disney, I got back. I didn't have a job. I thought, what am I going to do? There's a bacon factory not far from where I live. I went and worked in there for a couple of months because I had no money coming in. I had no job. I thought, you know what? I'll just go work in the bacon factory. Like anything. Do you know what I mean? You just do
yeah.
anything to get the money in. I was young. I didn't really care. So I went and worked there, packing ham into boxes for Tesco's and Asda. And and that was my job for a couple of months. And then I got a job at like the Bartley Card call center, went and worked there for a bit. And then I got the job in recruitment. And then, like all of these paths appear,
Yeah.
but that next path wouldn't have appeared if I hadn't have gone on that path or took that step or took that step. So it's like,
It's funny, most of the women I talk to, their path was just like it's just like this, right? It's
yeah,
like they've just gone here, 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 here. But that's life.
yeah,
Life takes you on a crazy path, and it's just about just take the next step and the next step,
yeah.
step. But you've got to
Just be
get
open to it. And the
comfortable.
thing is, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be forever. Like everything, it doesn't have to be forever. Just try it out. Like the bacon factory. There was no way I was staying there forever. But I thought, you know what? I'll bring in a bit of money. It'll be a laugh because I knew a lot of lads that worked there. I knew it was a laugh.
Right,
I thought,
right.
yeah, we'll have a laugh. And it was great. It was a right laugh. But yeah.
And then so this brings us full circle now. So the different steps that you've taken. And now you have it's a membership program, isn't it? Is it a program or is it a membership, or do you have both?
So I've got two. So I've got like two levels basically. I've got Client Attraction Sales Accelerator, or the CASA
That's it.
Accelerator as it's now known. That is like my ultimate signature offer that I created five years ago. Insane. So on the 27th of January, which is Monday, it's like its fifth birthday of being open,
Nice.
and incredible. Like I can't believe it's been 5 years. It's just grown and evolved and like everything. It went from just being teaching you how to do things on Instagram and to get people onto your email list to now like full funnels, ads, the lot. It's like full systems, automations, everything. So that is the accelerator. And then I've got the academy as well. So the academy is like the first step where people come to get like the mindset, the energetics, the like strategy and like little bits and pieces to really get going with your business growth journey. And then if you want to scale, then it's the accelerator. So it's kind of that step in between. So yeah, I've got the two levels.
So I guess that all of that training that you did then and going into affiliate marketing and learning about that, and then you learned about funnels and stuff. Now you can teach that. And that's it, that's
Yeah.
the CASA. And the other one, the academy that you've got with the mindset. You see, this is the for me, that's my area of expertise, the mindset,
Yeah.
the energetics, the following your intuition, following the next step,
Yes.
grounding yourself, getting focused, taking the fast, messy action. Well, no,
Yeah.
you love the fast,
It's
messy.
all needed. That's the
It,
thing. Like strategy is just 20%. The rest is the energy, the mindset, the
absolutely
self-leadership, the motivation, the all of it. Like strategy is just a tiny part. But
correct.
if you can't get over the other stuff, like I had so much baggage from like earlier on in my life that I had to just get over because it was holding me back. Like all these feelings had come up and like put the brakes on, like, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, I can't do that. And then I had to like overcome so many like childhood traumas and all sorts. I went down that rabbit hole that you were just talking about earlier. And oh my gosh, does that rabbit hole go on and on and on and on and on? And you feel like, oh, I'm getting somewhere. Oh, there's something else now. There's something else now.
Yeah. And it's true, isn't it? You think you can. If you think you can't, you're right. And if you think you can, you're right. So which one are you going to
Yeah.
choose?
Yeah.
So with the mindset and the energetics that you do in the academy, is that something that you do alone? Is that all you as well, or do you have other people that help you
So
with that?
yeah, it's just me. It's just me in the academy. And it's all the stuff that I've learned over the last 10 years of having my own businesses and all of the stuff that I've had to overcome, limiting beliefs. Like there's one program in there that I used to sell separately on its own. It's called Quantum Success Mastery, and it's all to do with overcoming your limiting beliefs. It's like the 30-day Divine Order Up Level program. All of your things that hold you back, the subconscious thoughts, the patterns, the everything, and how to release it, how to get over it, and the things that you can do, the tasks that I did that helped me to do it so that I was able to then grow and scale my business. There's like lots of different things in there, lots of tools that I did. And I think it's just like so essential. Like the amount of people, I just give me the strategy, just give me the strategy. And like the strategy doesn't work for everyone. And then like
No.
I'll just see, and I'm like, it's working for you because you've got a solid mindset and you're just out there, you're so confident and you're just like giving it. Whereas like I can tell you're holding back what you're holding back with. And it's like, nothing, I just need more strategy. It's like, yeah, probably not. There's something
Yeah.
else. There's a reason why you're not sharing what you want to share, like why you're holding back. And there's always something that comes up,
Because that
some
is a
belief.
unique story, isn't it? It's like your unique blueprint. We've
Yeah.
all got our own limiting beliefs. Sometimes it's a money mindset, sometimes it's a self-worth mindset, it's a
Yeah.
confidence, it's a trust, it's a not trusting myself, my
Yeah.
intuition, listening to everybody else before I'm trusting myself.
Yeah. Isn't that just insane? How we
It
just like
is.
listen to other people. And like the amount of times people will say, oh, you just told me that I have to be more of myself on Instagram, but that's not very professional. My boyfriend said it's not professional. I'm like, okay, what does he do for a living? Oh yeah, he works, he does he's a fisherman. I'm like, oh,
So he really
okay.
knows about what you're doing
Oh.
then, and he
And
really
it's like,
understands this.
okay. And then yeah, somebody else had a similar story. Oh yeah, he's an accountant. I'm like, did he work for himself? No. I'm like, but then the amount of times that you take advice from people, yes, they're close to you and they obviously have your interest at heart, but at the same time, they're not growing this kind of a business. You need to be
But
taking advice from the people that have what it is that you want.
absolutely. Couldn't agree more. 100%. Stop listening to other people and start trusting yourself and
Yes.
do some limiting belief work or some motivation and energetic intuition work on yourself, right?
Yeah.
There is so many things these days. There are so many YouTube videos, books,
Podcasts,
self-improvement
a
books,
lot.
self-help books, podcasts, TED
Yeah.
Talks. Gosh, there's so much information out there that can
Yeah.
help you with whatever you're struggling with, right?
Absolutely. Definitely.
So let me ask you then about your strategies for self-motivation and staying inspired.
So it's just literally, I mentioned earlier about the North Star, keeping focus. Like focus is my word again for this year. So last year, it served me well to keep focus because I'm one of these people, ADHD brain, who goes off and chases shiny objects all the time. I get distracted. I've got like 50 tabs open on my laptop and I'm like, oh, I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. And then like, oh, all of these ideas that whiz around my head. And I'm like, I just can't focus. And like my big word, it is focus because when I stay focused on the actual thing that I want to bring into my existence, like whatever it is. Like right now, I've got a huge focus on growing and scaling like the 𝐂𝐻𝐾𝐿 Academy, like my membership level. And because I've got that huge focus on that, and it's like, right, what can I do with really focusing that? And then things like lead magnets and all sorts are centered around that. Like whenever I focus on that, that's what grows. Of course it does, because you're focusing on it. And it's like, whatever you focus on grows. A couple of years ago, I was really focused on the podcast and getting the podcast to grow. Of course, that grew. And then it's like whatever you focus on grows. It's just remembering to focus and stop chasing shiny objects. If you can just keep the focus, keep the blinders on, and just focus on what it is that you're doing, you're going to get success so much quicker than if you go chase millions of things around online, because there's so many ways of doing this business. It's thinking, right, how do I want to do it? What do I want my life to look like? I need to follow a strategy that's suited to that, and I need to focus.
Yeah. And it's funny because, we are, you can give yourself credit for being multitasked, multi-talented, and doing many different things. But what I've learned, and I'm sure this is what you're saying too, is that, when you've got too many things, nothing gets full focus.
Yeah. Nothing gets done.
Nothing.
You're just like,
yeah.
And this happens to me, and you're not getting anywhere. You're like, I was meant to do that last year, but I didn't do it because I got doing this and I got doing that, and I went off on this and that and that, and then it just all ended up messy, and I didn't do any of it.
Yeah. See, I had to refocus last year. I mean, last year I had was just a horrible start to the year for me, breaking my wrist and just a very, very bad start to the year. And I said, look, I just can't do everything. I can't do all my social media. I can't do all my programs, and I just can't do this and this. And I just said, right, okay, I'm just going to focus on this and this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I backed right off social media because what really, and I'm focusing more on my email community.
Yeah. I always tell people that anyway. Don't put all your eggs in one basket with social media. I mean, look what happened with TikTok. Look what happened with TikTok in the US at the weekend. I mean, lucky for them, they got it back. But it's like, that could happen. It can happen with TikTok. It can happen with, like Instagram. The amount of people that I hear that lose their Instagram accounts. If you're relying on that to bring in your clients, then you're just going to be, up the creek without a paddle, should we say. But it's just get the people off of social media and onto your email list. Absolutely.
Yeah. In fact, I closed a Facebook group a long time ago, and I've recently just opened it now because, I want to go into, I want to have a membership, but again, it's finding the time to build that membership because I want to have lots of resources to start. So I thought, well, I'm going to start my Facebook group, and then I can, from my email list as well, they'll all be able to talk to each other as well, which
you don't need it.
Really...
You know what? You don't need anything in your membership when you first start it. When I first started my membership, I had nothing. I just had the promise of what I was going to deliver every day for 30 days. So I said, right, come and join. This is what you're going to get when you come in. It's a 30-day Divine Order up-level program. It was Quantum Success Mastery. That's what it was. That's what I started off with. Right. And I started it in a Facebook group, although I do it in Telegram now. But it was in a Facebook group. And everybody would get, it was like a brand new video every day for 30 days. That was my promise that people were getting when they came in. I had nothing else in there. Nothing, not a scrap. I didn't even have the Facebook group created on the day the membership was opening. I had to quickly create it. Fast, messy action it was. So I sold it. I got people to join at a founder member rate. So they got in at a ridiculously low price, knowing that there wasn't anything in there. So it was like, right, on the day they got into the group. So then day 1 was there, then day 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then it started to get built out. And then the next month I put another training in, another thing. And it just got built out in that way. So I just, started it. I had the idea, and within like a week, I had the sales page done. I launched it, got the people in, and then just started it. Fast, messy action.
Yeah, fast, messy action. We're going to talk about that right now. But the fact is that we're trying to, I think that now we're in this age of building communities, right? And I think that this social media, we're either going to see it change, or it's going to just disappear. It's not going to be as important, because I think building communities and support for one another, this is the way we're going forward. And social media is it's a bit like squirrel view. You go in for like 2-second videos.
Yeah.
Not a place to really build communities, as far as I can see, my experience.
Absolutely. I agree. The same. And I think as well, another big thing that's going to come up this year, I don't know if you noticed how much AI and robots took over last year.
Oh, yeah.
This year, people are getting sick of it. They're like, oh, I joined another AI course. It was just ChatGPT all the way. Yeah. I want the human element. I want the person. Like, I want to talk to someone. And that is like having that human element and like being there for your clients. Like people are craving that this year. Whereas last year, ChatGPT took over the world and it was like no human element to it. But people are kind of sick of the robots now and they want people. So that's going to be a huge thing this year.
I couldn't agree more. I really think that we're going to start to see building real communities now, so that we can support each other, support our clients, and they can support each other. This is why you create that community, and it doesn't all come from, the leader of the group. It comes from within the group as well. There's that
Everyone.
camaraderie, right?
Yes,
And things
everybody.
like podcasts that just
Yeah.
offer that free support. So let's talk about your Fast Messy Action podcast. So tell us all about that.
Oh, you know what? I love the podcast so much. Since having my podcast, that is now my favorite thing to do. Like Instagram was always my favorite. So my social media, like Instagram's my favorite out of the social media kind of platforms. But since I started my podcast, oh my gosh, I love it because I just like to waffle and talk on. And it's perfect for that. You just get on the mic and you just waffle. I love
Do you
it
have
so
guests?
much.
I don't think I've watched one. Do you just
Yeah,
have
so I do have
topics?
guests now and again. It's the way that I've set up the podcast, it's mostly me. So I like to do my riffs. It's fast, messy action, which all of the episodes are quick. So it's like 10-minute episodes, fast, messy action episodes. And that's what it's all about. Just like quick, straight to the point. Like sometimes I do waffle a bit, and sometimes, I'll go off on tangents. Like I mix it up between like strategy, real life, just me going off on a tangent about stuff, that kind of thing. It's just the real me talking. And then I'll have roughly like once a month, I'll have a guest on and we'll do like a bit of an interview, but it's all like centered around like women in business and women growing businesses and, being like just doing this alongside other commitments that you might have outside of your business, like kids and jobs and all of that. And if they can do that, so can you. And that's kind of the whole aim of the podcast
Yeah,
with my
yeah,
guest experts. And yeah, like everything that I do, like I think with the podcast, like for the amount of success that it's had, I've just winged it. This is the thing. Like, I think a lot of people think that they need to have this perfect plan and they try and have a perfect plan.
right.
And I just got on there and I winged it. My podcast, it got to #1 in marketing in Europe and I was gobsmacked. I remember looking at it and thinking, what? What has that just done? Like, I launched my podcast off the back of a launch of another program. So it wasn't even a proper launch. It was just like off the
Right.
back of it. Yeah, I'll just like tag on to that launch and then just get the people to listen and download and subscribe and all of that. And then it's like #1 in and I was like looking at this all the time. And I kept looking at it and looking at it and thinking, I can't believe my podcast's at #1 in marketing in Europe. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. And like it wasn't a hard thing to do, but I think with podcasting, what I love so much about it is like I'll get clients directly from the podcast and people will come to me and say, like, I came across you on Instagram.
Yeah,
Then I listened to your podcast and then I knew you. Then I came into your world. So it's like,
right.
it's that more personal. Like with the podcast, there's no distractions. I'm just talking as I would with you, with a friend. I'm just talking, just being myself. There's no like, oh, they're trying to join on my live stream, or there's that comment, or there's that. And there's just so many distractions when you're doing a live on Instagram. It can be like, oh,
I
whereas,
don't. I actually don't. I just say if you have questions, you can ask them afterwards. I don't
yeah,
have, if I'm live with a guest, like now, I don't even look at the
don't
comments.
even look at the
I don't.
comments. Yeah,
I don't.
yeah, yeah.
People do find me the same as you with the
The
podcast.
podcast. Yeah,
That's how they find you because they can see the
yeah,
real you. And people want authenticity. They want to
yeah,
see you and they want to say, "Oh, hi.
yeah.
I saw you on the podcast. I'd love to know more about this, or, what you were talking
This
about
is
really
it.
resonated with me, you know."
I think a big thing as well is like not having it perfectly polished. I
Yeah.
remember when I first started my podcast, I used to heavily edit it. Now I don't do any edits. It's just like, unless I
No,
like really go blah, 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 halfway through, I'll maybe just chop that bit out. But then even sometimes I'll just like keep in my ums and my ahs and whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm just a real person talking a real sentence, and this is just how I come across.
well, I think you talk so fast we wouldn't even hear the ums and the ahs.
It's so funny because I'll say to my clients on Telegram, I'm like, just listen to that on times 2. It was a 5-minute long. I'm like, on times 2, I wouldn't be able to understand what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly, right. You do talk very, very fast, but that's a northerners. Northerners talk fast. I've got other northern friends, and they all talk very, very fast. And I remember as an English teacher, I always had to grade my language, right? That was my step out of corporate coaching was to be an English teacher. But it
Yeah.
taught me a lot. It taught me about how to speak and how to, grade my voice and all of those things, which has really helped me. But yeah, and I do say, the people that some of the people that when they listen, like, gosh, she talks very fast, whoever it was, because there's other people that do talk fast, and I
Yeah.
don't. I don't talk as fast as my guests.
Yeah.
But I do
Yeah.
think you're right about the podcast. You've got to choose something and then just go with it. And okay, I've got some guideline questions I use, but I just picked a topic, and I thought the Mel Robbins thing. Do I want to be doing this for 5 years? Yes, this really lights me up.
Yeah. I love it. Like I
And
had
I've
no
been going
idea.
too. And you've been
I had no
going,
idea what was going to go on with the podcast. And I'm like, I absolutely love it. So
and
yeah, this is like the second year in with the podcast, and I absolutely
right,
love it.
yeah, and
It's amazing.
I'm on
And
you too as well.
I just, I didn't expect to love it as much as I do.
No, me neither. It brings me so much joy. And
Yeah.
the fact that I'm inundated with women that want to come onto the podcast to tell their story, you know,
Yeah.
to the point where I got a wait list. I mean, in last
Yeah.
year it was already booked for
Yeah.
January and February. And I'm like, it just blows me away.
Yeah. It's insane, isn't it? And I just love it. Like you, just love just talking.
Yeah,
It's just like this is brilliant. This is like such a great platform. And you get clients from it. And people get to know you and you get to
yeah,
nurture your audience better. And just like there's just nothing that I can say that's bad about podcasting. It's like it's
no.
amazing.
Well, it's the way of the future, isn't it? It's creating a community. You're in
Yeah.
service when you're in a state of service to others. You just want to give the information. You want, hey, please tell your story because there's people out there who wants to hear my story. You have no idea. There are
Yeah.
so many people that want to hear your story
People
and will be
do.
inspired by it, right? They're like,
Yeah.
oh, she did it. I could do that too,
Yes. Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So, what are some of the valuable lessons you've learned about yourself and your goals on this journey?
Oh my gosh. So many things. Oh, well, at first I thought it was just about the strategy. And obviously I was so wrong. I had to like really overcome like some limiting beliefs in a childhood healing. There was just so much on this journey. It wasn't just like I thought that the journey would have been learn more strategy, learn more strategy, learn more strategy, but it wasn't. It was like, yeah, learn more, learn more, learn more. I wasn't getting anywhere fast. I had to like overcome all these subconscious blocks and all of these limiting beliefs and all of these, I don't feel good enough. I'm no good at writing. I'm no good at this. I'm not good at that. And it all came from being a child and so many things that came up that I had to just like really delve deep and overcome. And oh, what a journey. Yeah, just so many things that I've had to overcome to get to where I'm at.
I
And
know.
it's going to continue as well. There's going to be more things that come up.
Yes. And do you celebrate your small wins, Camille?
Yes.
Good.
Every week I celebrate, every Friday, and everyone laughs at me for this. Go to Greg's and I get myself a pasty, or sometimes I'll I'll go to a cake shop and I'll get myself a little cake. Or last week I shared this on my Instagram actually. It was me sat there eating an Easter egg. I got an Easter egg from Tesco's and it was a 𝐂𝐀 chunky Easter egg. That was my little treat for myself on the Friday for pushing through and doing all the things.
Yeah, see, I love that. You've got to celebrate all these small successes, even if it's just
Yeah,
to buy yourself a little cake or to go to Greg's and buy yourself a pasty.
yeah, exactly. You deserve it.
All right. So, and what about we've talked just about now the valuable lessons. What about the unexpected benefits or rewards that you've gained from this
Wow.
entrepreneurial
Just,
journey?
you know what? I don't think I imagined how, I want to say like that warm, fuzzy feeling. Like I am more buzzing about my clients' results than mine. When clients come back to me and say things like, I'm going to quit my job, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're going to quit your job? And they're like, yeah, I've replaced my income. I'm going to quit my job. I'm like, "Oh." And then it's like, I'm traveling. Like when my clients will say, oh, well, I've retired my husband. We're going to go travel the world. And I'm like, like the amount of results and the amount of clients that'll come to me and say things like, I never imagined how that would feel, like that feeling inside.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll well up and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I hadn't have done what I've done, then they wouldn't have had that. And like the amount that spread, because then they're helping their clients who are helping their clients and the ripple effect and like,
Yeah.
oh, all of that. Like for me, At first, when I was doing this, I was thinking about, yeah, I'm going to help them to do that, and then I'll make more money. But I didn't really realize the depth of the impact and like what it actually creates in my clients' lives. Like, and then get into that, and I'm like, oh gosh, that makes me so, oh, that I can't explain it. The fuzzy feeling,
Yeah.
the impact, like
It's
just
rewarding, isn't it? It's very rewarding.
so rewarding, so
There's no
rewarding.
money in the world can buy the feeling of that reward,
Yeah,
the rewards, then how you feel when you've helped somebody else get
yeah,
to another level on their journey, right? It's just
yeah.
incredible feeling. Mm.
Like the feedback, and then I'll just be like in the DMs, like, oh my gosh, Camille, I've done it. I've sold that out, and I've got this, and I've got that, and I'm doing that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But then I'm like, well done you for taking fast, messy action. Like fast, messy action's been my thing since the Casa Accelerator started, because I'd said something in one of the lessons, don't forget fast, messy action. Don't forget fast, messy action. It just stuck. So all of my clients were like all I've got is you in my head saying fast, messy action, always fast, messy action are the biggest money makers. And I'm constantly saying that. Take fast, messy action to make more money. You get more momentum, you get more confidence. Fast, messy action. I've constantly been pumping that out in the accelerator since 2020. And like, that's why I called the podcast that like 2 years ago when I launched it, because like my clients were like, what are you calling the podcast? I think I might just call it the Fast, Messy Action Podcast. I'm like, bingo, that's what it has to be called. That's what you always say. So yeah.
Well, why not? Yeah, fast, messy action. And it's
Yeah.
the way you say it so fast, messy action. It's not easy to say, right? But you say it quite well, right?
It's because I say it so often. Come on, clients, fast, messy action. Go on.
Fast, messy action. Yeah, okay. Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, so I'm going to finish with two questions that I ask all my guests. And the first one is, if you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh my gosh. I would say do the inner work sooner. Don't leave it until you're really struggling and plateauing in your business and trying all the strategies under the sun to try and get past that. Like 100K, like just over 100K, I was like stuck there for ages, a long time. And I couldn't get past it. And all these other people were scaling around me saying, oh, it's easy to scale. I'm like, it's not easy to scale. And I was like, here, and I was like, oh, trying all these different things, like, what is wrong with me? And then like going into myself even more and blaming myself and thinking there's something wrong with me. And then thinking I can't do this and all of that. And it was all just because of like subconscious things that came up that I would put the brakes on. New level, new devil, putting the brakes on all the time and
Yeah.
just stopping myself. So I'd see like these glimmers of success in these next things. And then I just put the brakes on again. Oh, I don't do that. I don't do that. And then just stop myself from growing. And I don't know why, like I didn't know at the time why I would do it, but it was because of all of the subconscious things and all of the limiting beliefs and all of these feelings would come up. And because it was a feeling that I associated with being something bad, I stopped myself doing it, even though I didn't know why I stopped myself doing it. And oh gosh, it was just,
Yeah.
I just tell myself, do the inner work like so much earlier on than you did it. Like I'd pretty much took the whole of, let's say like 2022 into 2023, working mostly with mindset coaches and like inner healing coaches and healers, like deep healers, like inner child healers, all of it. Like, oh, it was such an emotional year, but I had to do it. I'm so glad I did, because then now I've been able to go to the next level, the next. I'm like, oh, no, I'm scaling effortlessly. It's like so much easier.
Right.
But and you know what? The strategy is like pretty much the same. I just got out of my own way.
Because the ceiling is literally, the ceiling is limitless. It's
Yeah.
just the limits that we put on ourselves and the
Yes.
conditioning, isn't it? And the
Inner limits. That's
inner
what it
healing.
is.
Yeah, the inner healing. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And what do you hope your story will inspire in other women who are looking to live a purposeful, joyful, limitless life, dare we say?
Oh, I just really hope that everybody can say, you know what? The way that I've grown my business, I mean, it's not been like that straight up. It's been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. The amount of like curveballs that have been thrown my way, but I've just picked myself up and carried on and done it anyway. And what I want to say is, look, like just be consistent, show up for yourself in your future. Just keep your eye on that North Star, that focus, keep the focus. You know where you are headed. Don't go off and chase shiny objects all the time. Just pick a mentor. Like this is the thing. Pick a mentor that aligns with the way that you want to live your life and just join and stay focused and remain committed and just follow it through.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We've just agreed on many things today. I couldn't agree more. Okay, great. Thank you so much. A million thanks to
Thank
Camille for
you.
joining me today.
Thanks for
Thanks
having
to
me.
Yes, and thanks to our audience for hanging out with us. And we hope you find it inspiring and empowering. And you'll find all you need to know about both of us in the details below. So until next time, this is Beth and Camille.
Bye for
Sign.
now.
Bye-bye.